To know more on HIV or AIDS, call toll-free number 1097. Know your status. Be educated about AIDS. Issued in public interest by the Meghalaya AIDS Control Society.
Unong ilam kaliang persya hapo kayang dorbar. Dr. Mukul Sangma ulak Tierting ya ke Meghalaya Democratic Alliance pelailam do Konrad ke Sangma kumu menteri rangba. Da kaba ulaong ba Konrad ulailam bakla yiki pait ba. Da kaba keno ba ke sorkar. House name R1000 nyo kala soy ya ke soskular. Baka hapan siu katway kelur shibnai klaim deshim ya ke boarding na ke National Thermal Power Corporation. Dr. Mukul Sangma mentakasi ulawan ru ya ke soskular hapo kayang dorbar. Kabla soy house name R1000 nyo bat ulabu jingkli ya ke sorkar u Konrad hangno latho bahaban siu katway kelur. Lo therting eru ba menteri rongba u Konrad ke Sangma u klaim le ya ke homework hapo Ukraine hapo ke dorbar. Bat ulai lam bakla da ke bakeno ya ke sokar ha ke to ke port andai uklam puli banyak pat wat tang ya ke soskular ru bat umte biru ya ke Electricity Act R1000 lai.
Discussion is in relation to the prevailing power crisis in the state of Meghalaya. Now the fact that the caption itself is the prevailing power crisis in the state of Meghalaya has been brought as a short duration discussion under the relevant rule 50 of the Rules of Procedure and Conduct of Business by the opposition itself. Speaks volume about the concern of the people and the fact that the members of this august house share this concern as seriously as the people of the state. Now, even before we discuss this issue in this august house, this discussion about the so-called power crisis has been on for quite some time, since last year. And crisis after crisis, a narrative generated and in circulation, they reflect the gravity of the situation and the magnitude of the problem, and also the constant denial mode of the state government. And there is something pathetic. And also, interestingly, I'm amused by the stand taken by the government and the attempt, very smart attempt, to divert the narrative and conversation about the evils that are taking place in the power sector in the state. The evils which are offshoot of mismanagement and greed. Newspapers after newspapers. Are they for nothing? Is the government capable of saying that these are fabricated news? Are they just fabricated to malign somebody? But when such narratives are in circulation, when the media is also picking up this news, it's the responsibility of each one of us to have a serious introspection into this mess, into this crisis. Because as I have said, the power sector is crucial because power energy is the backbone for any growth and development of any state. It's a fuel for providing, rather, a fuel for the engine of growth. And therefore, it is crucial. And particularly in this era when we no longer use kerosene lamps. I had the privilege of studying with kerosene lamp during our time, but I don't think it's something which our children will do now. And why should we do? Because we have progressed. The Government of India, along with the states, have embarked upon numerous initiatives to ensure that electricity reach every nook and corner of the country. It becomes available for everybody, affordable for everybody. And with this intent only, Government of India came up with a new act, Electricity Act 2003. And there is the guiding law for any state and for the central government. Now, I was amused to see, I think, without diverting the conversation to something else, the attempt of the government, particularly the Chief Minister, to divert the narrative which exposes the complete different attitude of the government to deal with the mess, because the mess is being part of or rather an offshoot of a scripted modus operandi. Even in power sector, there's a well-scripted modus operandi, and the script writer is somewhere who is moving around in the state. And I think media is capable of identifying, people are capable of identifying those script writers. And it's coming out one after another. I thought I will bring many more materials to show today, but then today with the short duration discussion, I prefer not to do so today. But even media has already carried. These are facts. These are facts. How MSCL is being robbed. How well-scripted modus operandi is on full swing, 24/7. And very well patronized by the leader of the House. Today, the Honorable Member from Rangsapura, in his start question, have asked for the number of transfers and posting in relation to the CMD of this very, very crucial public undertaking. And I think there was no more time for the supplementaries. But the fact is that is just the tip of the iceberg. The tip of the iceberg indicating what kind of modus operandi is on with the involvement of the leader of the House and the power minister. One after another officers posted, transferred. For what reason? Are they so? To all those dictates to implement the modus operandi, which is against the interests of the state. And I would like to inform this August House through you, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir. I think it is important for everybody to ensure that every action that we act upon, every action should speak about our intent. And number one intent should be to protect the interests of the state. I have gone through a number of judgments of the Honorable Supreme Court relating to corruption and people who have been convicted under the relevant act for not protecting the interests of the state. Please be careful, and please don't blame subsequent government when law is allowed to take its own course. And this is going to happen. This is going to happen. They will not be able to hide, because law has its long hand. And therefore, I have been time and again trying to alert, alarm, caution all our friends, all our colleagues in this August House, particularly our friends in the Treasury bench who are in the helm of affairs of governance, starting from the leader of the House. We have gone through long innings. I have seen how our predecessors have worked. Now somebody is saying that, okay, this power mess is because of an agreement signed with the NTPC by the erstwhile Congress government. This is the agreement. Has the Chief Minister read every page? He hasn't read. He hasn't done his homework. Where is that 11 crore mentioned here? Where? Which page? Which page? Why has the Chief Minister misled the August House? Misleading the August House attracts breach of privilege of this August House. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, how with impunity a leader of the House had the tendency to come with figures to distort the whole perception and tell lies before this August House. Where is this 11 crore or any amount for that matter? Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, NTPC, NHPC, NIPCO, if these organizations weren't there under the Ministry of Power, Government of India, this country would have been really struggling to meet the energy requirement till now, including the state of Meghalaya. We were fortunate that we had quite a number of hydroelectricity projects generating, but up to what level? Were we sufficient? No, we weren't. That's why we took up measures. Now, every page here, now the ignorance of the Chief Minister and the government in relation to people who are in power department is that this is a standard agreement approved by Government of India. Standard agreement. Every state signs this. Every state, not just Meghalaya, every state. And what does it say? That if we are going to establish this power station, which is a thermal power station in Northeast, that was the collective offshoot of a collective engagement. At Bongaigaon, in Northeast, who will be the beneficiaries? The beneficiaries will be power. And then we decide. They offer us the options. And this is what is there in this agreement. Out of the total generation, 15% will be left with NTPC and will be available for Government of India for allocating to any state, whoever wants at any point of time. And after that what? Any power generation company, when they are embarking upon establishing of new generation station, what is required? Money, fund. That's precisely the reason why Government of India came up with Electricity Act 2003, enabling infusement of investment into power sector by private companies. Because the investment in power sector was not adequate to meet the huge gap between the demand and supply across the country. That's why this Electricity Act 2003, very bulky. I have read this Electricity Act 2003 more than 5 times in 2007. I continue to read. I would urge the Chief Minister and the Minister of Power to read again and again, again and again. Then what does the Electricity Act says? The tariff. The tariff, as per the section 62 of the Electricity Act 2003, tariff is determined by, in respect of the generation company under Government of India, by the CERC. Now what has happened to this thermal power project? It was supposed to be commissioned in 2011-12, but because of time overrun and cost overrun, it couldn't be commissioned. It was commissioned on the 1st of April 2016. We were still in the government. But even before it was commissioned, we took up this issue. That, look, since we expected the project to be completed and commissioned by 11-12, we may not be requiring that much of power because we have done quite a substantial exercise in getting some more power from some other sources, including our own generation. Leska, New Umtru. These are the projects that we have completed. These are the projects which are the offshoot of the sweat of all the power ministers, preceding power ministers, including me. They're telling that this mess is because of Dr. Mukul Sangma, because of Congress government, because they don't know what is written in this agreement. Not even in one page you will see that mention of money. These are all regulated by this Electricity Act 2003, and this mandate of law delegates power to relevant authorities, including CERC, Central Electricity Regulatory Commission. And therefore, what does the...
May I request the Honorable Leader of the House to be brief with your point?
Yes, but then this is an important issue. This is an important issue. Now the crisis is there. We cannot deny. Therefore, now here, every power project, when conceptualized to be developed, yes, we have to have financial closure. If it is a private company, it is more difficult because banks will not be forthcoming unless there is a power purchase agreement. And when a state, beneficiary states come together and sign an agreement, power purchase agreement, under the standard format of this agreement, which is approved by Government of India, and which is also based on the tripartite agreement, which is signed between the states, the Government of India, and the RBI. How, when power is sold to the distribution company or the bulk purchaser, states are the bulk purchasers. So, how the modus operandi of payment should be done? It's all there. It's all there in Electricity Act 2003. And the subsequent regulations notified and issued by the concerned authorities as per the mandate of this law. Now here, there is a provision here which says if you want to buy, if you have signed an agreement, if you backtrack afterwards, what is going to happen to this power? We have signed similar agreements. Why don't you look at other agreements also? There's a sign between NIPCO and Meghalaya State Electricity, our own organization, MECL. Number of agreements. It's not only this agreement. We have signed agreement with OTPC, ONGC Tripura Power Corporation. NIPCO, number of projects that we have signed, we are drawing power from there. And this particular NTPC agreement which is signed, we have written letter in 2015. Again in 2016 in the month of April 20th. I remember because it was on my birthday. Now, if this agreement was a culmination of long-drawn engagement, a long-drawn engagement which was initiated by my predecessor, because this type of agreement cannot be signed overnight. These are offshoot of long-drawn engagement between the stakeholders, which includes the state government, the Government of India, and the concerned public undertaking under Ministry of Power, that is NTPC. And when we agreed, then the standard agreement, which is signed by every state. Every power generation company, when the bulk purchaser cannot pay, will regulate. That is what we call regulation. Regulation means that you will not be able to draw, the bulk purchaser or the distribution company will not be able to draw power, but then they'll have to pay the fixed price, fixed charges. Whether it is 11 crore or whether it is 20 crore is calculated by the quantum of power which is allocated to the concerned distribution company and the tariff calculated. Now this tariff is not calculated by Government of Meghalaya, it's for all the power generation company of under central government, it is the CERC. If it is our generation company, it is the State Electricity Regulatory Commission. Now, how the tariff is arrived at is here at section 62 of the Electricity Act 2003. There are parameters, factors, which are taken into consideration in ensuring transparency to ensure that the consumers are not allowed to be subjected to extra burden due to tariff which is considered as beyond what should be fixed. And that's why we have the tariff fixation. Tariff is always not fixed for, a long period of time. There is a revision of tariff. And there are variable components because it's a thermal plant. But the fact is that the reply of the Honorable Chief Minister pertaining to something relevant, I wasn't here, is jumping to point finger at the predecessors. Now, if this was signed in 2007, after the culmination of few years of exercise, which was initiated during the time of my predecessor, led Dr. Don Kumar Roy, in 2008 and 2009, during that period of time, who was the Minister of Power? Who was the Minister of Power? Why didn't they look at this agreement? If this was bad, why they didn't cancel it? But they choose to cancel all other good agreements. You know what are those agreements which was cancelled during that time? They were so prompt in cancelling all the agreements that was signed between the state government and the power developers. We took pain in coming up with the power policy in 2007. We took pain to ensure that we invite and attract investors, and we signed a number of agreements, including NIPCO. Even the agreement between NIPCO and the Meghalaya state government was cancelled. And today we are paying the price. As per the power policy, from every power that is generated, 12% goes as a free power to the state. And also 2% to the people who are classified as project affected people. These were the offshoot of a due diligence, concerted effort of the government. And 2008-9, they were very happy to cancel this. Whole power projects, including Leska, including your Maufu, Umiu, Umngi, all those basins, Umgot, all these basins. 3,000 megawatt of power from only hydroelectricity sources. But they did not cancel this. They did not cancel this. Why they didn't cancel if this is so bad? Because there is all these provisions are as per the Electricity Act 2003. Standard power purchase agreement document approved by Government of India. Where is that 11 crore per year that is required to be paid? Where? Which page? Show us. Which page? And therefore, there is complete attempt to change the narrative and divert the narrative. Mr. Speaker, sir, this amounts to misleading the House and it attracts breach of privilege, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir. And after this, they are talking about the tariff. As I have said, tariff is fixed by the CERC. What is the rate at which we are selling? As per the tariff approved, for commercial, 6 rupees 60 paisa, 660, different categories, 650, including 10 rupees 97. This is the tariff fix. Domestic, 3 categories up to 5 rupees 70 paisa at the higher capacity. Consumers who consume more than 200 units have to pay 5 rupees 70 paisa. This is only the tariff. Along with this tariff, there are fixed charges. So if we see the electricity bill served to each one of us, we will see what are those other charges, fixed charges, rental, etc. Even for the mobile, you have so many other associated charges. Now, if we cannot engage with Government of India on time and land up in this kind of mess because of not engaging aggressively and requesting Government of India, because the clause says that any allocated power to any beneficiary state, if surrendered, shall be provided to other states who seek to purchase these, who seek to get this allocation transferred. This is what is written in this agreement. But since we became self-sufficient to some extent, and since new power projects which were being developed by NIPCO were also on the verge of being commissioned, and our entitlement, our allocation will be available for us, we decided that we want to surrender. Letter after letter we have submitted. This is the effort we have done. But subsequent to that, what has happened? From the 1st of April 2016, when the generation started, afterwards when Government of India said that, okay, they will have this offered to other beneficiary states. 2019, then 2021, till now. If we see at the agreement, there's a clause. If you cannot complete it through mutual discussion and engagement, we should go to arbitrator. This provision is there. There is an exit clause with a relevant provision of the law. They haven't done their homework. They must have been briefed by CMD, who is overburdened, and therefore he has jumped to draw this conclusion, because I saw the similar kind of statement given by CMD in the preceding month, trying to hide their sins by telling all these lies. I would like to ask the government to be very clear in telling us in which page has it mentioned 11 crore. In fact, as per the entitlement that is available now, after the third phase is commissioned, the total fixed charges will be around 13 crore. Even that calculation the Chief Minister doesn't have. It will be 13 crore, yes. Therefore, now this is because you are not drawing power. If you cannot get out of this mess, then draw the power. Draw the power, and because we are selling at higher price. If you are making a profit of 10 paisa per unit, for 50 megawatts, how much it is? 10 paisa into 50 megawatt. Hour basis, 50 into 1,000 is 50,000 units per hour. 50,000 units will give you 5,000 rupees per hour profit. But here with this tariff, you have 6 rupees 50 paisa, 6 rupees 10 rupees 97 paisa. That is, of course, for electric vehicle charging stations. But for the, even for public water supply scheme, we are charging 6 rupees 50 paisa. And for commercial, 6 rupees 60 paisa. Industrial, 6 rupees 60 paisa. What is the tariff fixed by the CRC in respect of this power which we are entitled, or the power which is allocated to state government? And calculate with this, what is the loss and what is the profit? It's a simple arithmetic. Simple arithmetic. The only thing the government has to do is attract more investment, ensure that there is a peaceful environment. Lawlessness, violence, agitations, lack of intent to deal with the lawlessness will only scare away the investors. There will be no investment coming. So, this power, this extraordinary effort of the government is a culmination of all exercise. And therefore, the government must come clear on that figure. 11 crore. Is there in this thermal power purchase agreement with NTPC? In which patch? Why did they lie? Every agreement will have, if you do not draw, or if you are not able to pay for the energy drawn, once the bill is submitted by the energy company, the whole thing is regulated and it's mentioned in the law.